Okay, so we learned quite a bit about events. What if we now don't just want to add 1 and subtract 1, but we want to be able to add 5 and reduce this by 5? Maybe name it subtract, therefore. Whatever you want. But the goal is that we now don't just add and deduct 1, but instead 5. How would we do that? Well, we of course could accept a parameter in those methods, right? That is how we would probably do it in JavaScript. We can accept the parameter, number or num or n, totally up to you. It's your method, so you can accept whatever you want. And then we could add num here or reduce num. Of course, we could also make this less dynamic and just hard code 5 here. The problem just is that whenever we plan to change this number, we need to change it down there in code. So it typically would be better to have a more dynamic method which gets the number which we want to add or remove and then uses this as a parameter like this. Then these methods will never need to be changed when we decide to deduct or add a different number. So that's the more generic and therefore typically better way of writing these methods. But how do we tell Vue that it should call add and reduce with a value of 5 for these parameters? Well, keep in mind, we can execute add like this by pointing at it or by calling it explicitly. Well, and if we call it like this, we're, as a developer, in full control over the value we want to pass to the parameters of these methods. So here we can add 5, for example, and reduce by 5. Just like that. And now whenever we decide to go for a new value, we just have to change it here in HTML, where we're changing the caption of the button anyways, and the method will work correctly automatically because it's written in a very generic way. So if we now save that and reload, I can add 10 and subtract 5, and it just works. So passing arguments to methods is also possible, and it's very easy to do. And this is an important pattern to know. This is important to understand because in reality, in apps you're building with Vue, you will sometimes have the scenario that your method needs to get some parameter which you as a developer want to set. And as you see, setting it and telling Vue to call this method with this value is super easy.